What is up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the F1 24 Driver Career Mode. And today we have episode number 3 taking place at the Australian Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the previous episode that took place at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, then I'll leave a link to that video in the top right hand corner of your screen now, because I'm going to spoil it. That was a much better race from me, especially compared to our opening debut in Bahrain, where I really struggled and we only ended up P17, and I think it was because I'm still trying to get used to trail braking. However, there were no such issues in Saudi Arabia, and I ended up finishing P8, securing my first points in Formula 1, and not only that, a very nice bonus by getting the bonus points for fastest lap, which is something I didn't expect to get. So there you are, there's the current performance chart. It doesn't look like any teams have brought upgrades to Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. However, we have got some upgrades ordered, which are hopefully coming on for this Grand Prix. But enough of that, you've seen the title of this video, so now let's just jump into this thing and go straight into my first ever secret meeting and see who might want to sign me.
Hey, just a quick one for me. The team are pleased that you've declined that meeting. Gold star, brownie points, etc., etc. I guess we'll see if anything else more exciting comes calling, but let's focus on our current seat for now.
Absolutely no disrespect to Haas, but that was one of the easiest decisions I've ever made in my entire career. And as my agent said, let's see if anything else, hopefully more exciting than Haas, does come up in the future. Although I don't really understand the game, why would I want to try and fight to secure a seat at a team which would be a downgrade from the existing one that I'm at? You know, I've started in VCarb, we're doing pretty well. Since the first race, we've been doing quite well. I've had some great performances in qualifying, so why would I want to then try and go and fight in a car which is a backmarker? Anyway, the upgrades that were ordered by me for this race weekend have successfully gone on. You may have seen that in the background as we fast forwarded time for the beam wing, and based on my performances in practice, I'm going to increase the AI up to 88. So with that said, let's start qualifying.
Hello everyone, it is time for qualifying at one of our very favourite stops on the calendar. It's Albert Park, and we're about to take the cars right up to the edge.
Here we are then, ready to start qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix. This is my first flying lap in Q1. So in terms of setup for this weekend, I did trial the preset 4 setup for increased top speed in FP1 and FP2. And then later on I did actually switch to a preset 3 setup, which is for slightly more balanced wings. And to be honest, I definitely found that I preferred the preset 3 setup. So that's what I am running for qualifying, and I will be running it for the remainder of this weekend. But across the line at the end of my first flying lap, and we go up to P8, we're only 13 thousandths, I think, behind Charles Leclerc, who's in P6. So that's a pretty good start. Although I am going to go out again. I'm not going to risk staying in the garage because I think the gap to safety was only about 3 or 4 tenths. So, well, I know that sounds like a fair amount. However, I just don't want to risk anything. So I've gone out on a new set of soft tyres, and immediately we're finding time through turn 1. And by the time that we cut to the end of that lap, you know, I've gone purple in the first sector. We're braking at the final braking zone. There's a little bit of a slight lockup on the front left there. Still not fully ironed out my lockups, although it is getting much better. DRS open, onto the battery. We're almost 8 tenths of a second up as we come across the line at the end of Q1, and we've gone P2 again. This is absolutely extraordinary. For 3 races in a row in Q1, Verstappen has been quickest and I've been P2. You saw me increase the AI compared to what I've previously running, and that's what I'll continue to do as I get more confident at this game. But, you know, in hindsight, maybe I should have increased it even further because I was once again a second quicker than my teammate. So as we go into Q2, this is the end of my first run on medium compound tyres. I wanted to try my luck on the set of medium compound tyres because I only have one available set of soft compound tyres left as a fresh set to use in Q2. And obviously we have another set which is reserved for Q3. So this run that I'm doing now at the end of Q2 is on a scrub set of softs that I saved from Q1. So even with about 9 or 10% tyre wear, nearly losing the back end through the final couple of corners, I didn't gain that much time through the first couple of sectors, but now through the final sector I have managed to find some time, although I have unfortunately lost a few tenths by having a bit of a squirrely back end through the final 2 or 3 corners across the line to go into P9. But is that enough to get ourselves into Q3? Yes, it is! Along with my teammate Yuki Tsunoda as well. So that's a fantastic effort from both drivers in order to get our cars safely through into the final part of qualifying at the expense of Carlos Sainz. The Ferrari driver has been eliminated in Q2 for the first time this season. So we advance still into Q3 this time. This is my first set of soft tyres that I'm using. Once again, a scrub set from Q1. I'm going to save the fresh set to the end of the session. And again, I'm losing the back end. I think it's because I'm touching the inside curb at that corner, which is why I lost the rear end there during my lap at the end of Q2 as well. Although across the line, DRS is now activated. It's looking like it's been a pretty decent lap so far, and we go up to P8. Just in front of my teammate, and we are both in a sandwich between Russell and Hamilton, the two Mercedes drivers. It has actually gone a little bit overcast in Q3. I was a little bit concerned that there might actually be some rain, which wasn't forecast because the weather forecast for the whole weekend has been dry and clear skies. So that's why I thought I don't want to save it till right at the end of the session, just in case for whatever reason there are some spots of rain falling. So now I'm starting my final lap in qualifying then. Let's see how much of an improvement we can find through turn 1, nicely hitting the apex there, moving through towards the end of sector 1. I have managed to find a little bit of time, just over a tenth of a second up, a personal best. Look at the split though in the top left hand corner of the screen. I'm currently just over 2/10 of a second up on the sector time posted by Sergio Perez, who is currently in P6. So this is looking like a really good lap for me. Dipping a tyre on the grass there, not quite sure what I was doing. That meant I've lost a few thousandths there on the back straight, although coming through the fast chicane, turns 9 and 10, 4/10 of a second up now. DRS activated, trying to use every ounce of the battery to squeeze out every millisecond I possibly can. The checkered flag's now out at the end of qualifying. That's the best apex I hit there for the whole weekend, I think. Although it doesn't look like it's gained me any time. Now we're going to find a little bit of extra time because I didn't lose the rear end through that corner. This is the part of the track which has been tripping me up all weekend, where I've been struggling with the traction, struggling with the rear end, getting the power down nice and early. DRS on, ERS on. It's a great lap. Nearly 6/10 of a second improvement. Where does it put us? P2! Oh my word, we've gone to the front row in only my third ever Formula 1 Grand Prix, and we're only 200ths off the pole position time. Wow, I did not expect us to be that quick. I should have increased the AI even more. I've put 8/10 on my teammate once again. That means I should have increased it by 8 clicks. That puts it on 96. Wow. I can't believe that's just happened. So now we are about to start the Australian Grand Prix from the front row. The AI is going up even more. Let's just see what I can do.
It is one of the great Formula 1 Grand Prix of the entire year. Over 400,000 Australian fans here across the weekend. The roar of the crowd means one thing. It's race day in Melbourne. It's a relatively new look at Albert Park after its 2022 redevelopment. Turns 1, 3, 6 and 13 are all wider than they once were. We have thrown turns 9 and 10 into the bin. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Walker completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Leclerc, Perez, Russell, Tsunoda, Hamilton, Sainz, Stroll, Albon, Gasly, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Joe, Bottas, Magnussen and Logan Sargent. That's it then. It's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Hello everyone, welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Shakes and we say hello to Naomi Schiff. Now, those final hours before a race, did you have a routine?
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race. But I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for race day. So watch the drivers when they're on the grid. Some may be sitting on the floor and isolating, others may be up to other things that they do. But these little things really help their minds get ready for the race.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the front row. Here we are. I definitely did not expect to be here this weekend. That's why I've increased the AI even more up to 90. So this is going to be a bit more of a challenge for me, I hope. I'm still getting used to the game. I'm still increasing the AI as I get better. That's the strategy that we're going to do. One stop medium to hard. I totally agree with that. I think that's the way to go. Fuel, again, 0.4 over. The car is pretty economical with fuel this year, thankfully, and fuel conservation hasn't been an issue so far, and I'm hoping that's going to continue, and I will, obviously, if I do need fuel-saving measures like lift and coast, then I will have to do that throughout the race, but once again, I do forget to release anti-stall at the start of the formation lap. That's happened in every Grand Prix so far. Thankfully, though, I've never messed up the start yet. So this would be a pretty bad race to mess up the start, because this is an absolutely fantastic opportunity for us to get some big points this season. So as we're now coming round to start this race, the tyres are still a little bit cold. I think they've cooled down through the final couple of corners, which is not ideal. As I'm getting overtaken by some more cars, I'm trying to generate a little bit of tyre temperature. Thankfully, ghosting does get enabled on the formation lap. Let's just see what we can do. We have absolutely nothing to lose here, so to be honest, if some of the faster guys like the McLarens do come past, I'm not going to fight them too hard because they're way quicker and in a different race. But now we're revving up to 5 red lights for the Australian Grand Prix. We are underway in Melbourne, and it's a better start than Verstappen off the line. Surely not. We're going to take the lead into turn 1. Alonso's got past the defending world champion as well. But into the first corner, and for the first time ever, I am leading a Formula 1 Grand Prix. The front's just a little bit cold. Might have to try and generate a little bit more tyre temperature. Going into turn number 3 there. Nice apex considering my tyres are still a bit cold. And to be honest, I was panicking a bit because I've never been in this position before. Trying to get on the battery now as well. So what an unbelievable start. I did not expect to get a start like that. That's the best start I've had on this game. I did thought I got a little bit of wheel spin at the time. I wasn't so sure, but maybe Verstappen just had a terrible start. Although, speaking of Max Verstappen, here he comes. This is me in the lead. We're almost going to be 3 wide as we head down towards the quick chicane at turns 9 and 10. Verstappen does re-overtake Fernando Alonso, although he's still too far back to challenge the V-carb. And as I come across, I've officially led 1 lap in Formula 1 to start lap number 2. I obviously have the fastest lap of the race to my name. Wow, it still hasn't fully sunk in yet as this, although how much longer is it going to last? Because Max Verstappen is looking so quick. Remember, he's undefeated so far this season. He has DRS, and now he's going to come flying past me to retake the lead of the Grand Prix. And as I said, I'm just not going to fight it. He's in a totally different race. There's no point battling, wearing out my tyres, depleting the battery, trying to defend against a Red Bull, who's going to be the quickest driver on track. So I'm just going to let Max get on with his race. Ultimately, P2 still a fantastic position for me to be in. And as we go on to lap number 3, we've got a yellow flag. What's going on here? Is it behind me? It definitely is behind me. Oh, I think it's Fernando Alonso. You've seen him just flick out of the top 5 on the left-hand side of your screen. Yes, it is. The Aston Martin driver is out. Oh, what a shame that is. He had a fantastic qualifying session to be just over half a tenth off pole position. That still put him in P3, but it's a mechanical failure for the Spanish driver, and any hopes he might have had of securing a podium here this afternoon have completely evaporated with that mechanical failure, and unfortunately he becomes the first retirement of the afternoon. Just like Norris in Saudi Arabia, there's an early retirement caused by a mechanical failure by one of the drivers starting in the top 3 on the grid. And now we're moving on to lap number 4, and this is Lando Norris, who overtakes me as we start lap number 5. And again, as I said, I'm not going to fight that because Norris is in a McLaren. He has the best car. What's the point of me trying to fight it? Although, due to Alonso's retirement, Oscar Piastri is outside of my DRS range. Although not for much longer. We've cut all the way to lap number 9 because nothing else happened apart from Verstappen breaking away a little bit out front. I've managed to stay within Norris's DRS for this whole time, and just chilling and letting Lando drag me along has also meant that I've successfully been able to defend my position against Piastri, against Perez, much quicker cars who are behind me. However, now I am going to be coming into the pit lane for my sole scheduled pit stopper this afternoon, almost hitting the wall there onto the pit lane. It's very easy to do. I did do that in practice actually, and then had to flash back for it, but thankfully no such mistake is made in the race. I have learnt my lesson. Although that wasn't ideal. A late turn-in means we're going to be given a slower pit stop by the team. That was my bad there. and we go onto the hard compound tyres, and that is the only time we will be making a pit stop this afternoon. So out we come. Hopefully we're going to find a nice little pocket of clean air. It does look like we are going to, so I do need to try and rapidly generate some tyre temperature, and by the time we get onto the very next lap, it looks like a lot of the other guys who are in front of me are into the pit. So Verstappen, you can see him, he pitted on the same lap as me, he's gone into the lead, as has Lando Norris up into P2. It'll be interesting to see where I come out in terms of Sergio Perez and Oscar Piastri. There they are at turn 1, so we're right behind Oscar Piastri. So as it turns out, they have overcut me. Part of me isn't surprised, although I've already got an opportunity to try and see if I can overtake the home hero immediately. He'll be on cold tyres, although I do decide to back out of that because I figured, why fight a McLaren? Why try and fight? I might as well stick to what I've been saying all afternoon and don't fight the quicker cars. Now we've moved over to lap number 14, and I'm still behind Perez and Piastri, although Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc have caught up to the back of me. Although thankfully, due to the fact that I'm still staying in the DRS of these guys, they're not able to overtake me. They can't get close enough, and I've still got a bit of VRS left. So this is actually really helping me, and I'm so surprised that my pace is all of a sudden so good. As I said, if I'd have known I'd have been this quick, I'd have increased the AA up to maybe 93, 94, because I still shouldn't be able to stay in the DRS of these guys. They should be long gone. So this is something that, again, I'm going to have a look at for the next race weekend. And I'm doing absolutely fine. The tyre wear is just pretty normal this weekend, to be honest. And also, Perez and Piastri are battling a little bit, to be fair. Speaking of which, here goes the home hero trying to secure a place on the podium. This would be the first time he has ever finished on the rostrum at his home Grand Prix if he can get past the Mexican driver. So this is a fantastic opportunity here for the young McLaren, and I'm still just sitting and watching this front row seat for this lovely battle, as here goes the Papaya McLaren all the way around the outside. That's a lovely overtake from Oscar Piastri. Crowd goes wild as the home hero manages to take his place on the podium at the Australian Grand Prix. And we now move all the way over to lap number 18 because nothing else happened in this race. It was literally just me following these guys battling, running fairly close. It was just a bit of a DRS train, this race, to be honest. There was nothing really interesting like it. The previous race at Jeddah, the battle for the minor podium placings was absolutely brilliant, and that's why I cut to so much of it, because I had a bit of a lonely race there, whereas this time, for some reason, I am in the battle for the minor podium places, although there's just a DRS train. You noticed I did have a half look at Sergio Perez there, although I decided to not go for any sort of reckless dive bomb like that, because I just couldn't get close enough. Unless I'm absolutely sure that I'm close enough to try and go for a move, there's absolutely no point trying. We're now on to lap number 19, and this is an opportunity. I've now got DRS and a little bit of ERS to burn. This might be a move to go for P3, although Piastri tries to defend the inside. He's worried about Perez and me, and unfortunately I don't get space, although on the exit I can go all the way around the outside of the young Australian driver. This is a fantastic battle. We're going wheel to wheel through the final couple of corners. I've had a lock up there, trying to leave Piastri as much room as I possibly can, and I'll go all the way around the outside at the final corner, open up the DRS and get back into P4. What a fantastic overtake, a lovely little battle that was, as we start the final lap of this Australian Grand Prix. I do get a warning for corner cutting and nearly lose the back end through turn number 2 there. This might give the young Australian another opportunity to try and get a move done, to try and get back at me. He desperately wants this place on the podium, but Perez is getting away. I never ever thought I'd say I'd be in the fight for a podium in a V-carb in my third race. But while all that's been going on, once again, it has been the Max Verstappen show out front. Absolutely untouchable. Norris is running fairly close to the checkered flag, like in Bahrain, although it's not to be, as for the third race in a row, Max Verstappen wins the Australian Grand Prix. At the start of 2024, he has been invincible, and it's going to take a very special performance for anybody to try and catch him, because he is just in absolutely electric form. He is in terrifying form, and as we look towards the start of the European calendar, he's already got more than double the points of his nearest championship rival. So this is a serious statement being laid down by the Dutchman. It could be 2023 all over again. Meanwhile, for me, across the line with P4. An absolutely brilliant race from me. I'm so pleased with that. I did not expect to be getting 12 points in my third race and finishing under a second off a podium. Wow. What a race. What a drive.
It's always box office when this man's at the front. Max Verstappen takes the checkered flag.
Wow, that's 3 wins in a row. This clearly solidifies them as a seasoned contender. It's very tough to achieve 3 in a row, so very well done.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They've performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
It does look rather good, that, doesn't it? Spitfire Walker, P4 in a Grand Prix. There's your results from Melbourne. Max Verstappen wins by 3 seconds ahead of Lando Norris. Those two clearly the leaders for the championship this year, and I'm sure Norris would have been right there on the podium if he hadn't retired in Jeddah. Perez back-to-back podiums. When was the last time he did that in real life? Then obviously myself in P4, just under a second off my first podium. I can't believe that. Then the points are completed by Piastri, Hamilton, Leclerc, Russell, Tsunoda. Great day for our team to get 14 points from this weekend. And Carlos Sainz gets the final point. The Ferrari driver only able to recover 1 position from where he started down in P11. In the championship, Verstappen double the points of everyone else. I've already mentioned that. He is just in a league of his own this season. I really can't see anybody catching him. Lando Norris, I think, would have been right up there had he not had that unfortunate mechanical failure at the start of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, so therefore Perez is second. Piastri and Leclerc are also right in the fight for P2 in the championship. I am in front of Sainz, Alonso and Hamilton, and just behind George Russell in the Drivers' Championship. In the Constructors, we are up into P5 after a fantastic weekend for our team overall. Wow, this has been a brilliant episode, actually. Probably the most exciting one so far. You know, with our first secret meeting, obviously I never wanted to sign for Haas. That was a shame that it didn't give me something more exciting that I could show you guys, but yeah, hopefully we'll get another one later in the season. And then obviously to qualifying, just 200ths off pole position, and then ending up fractionally missing out on our first podium. What a brilliant race. But guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please consider to like, share and subscribe. We're almost at 900 subs, and then it's the final push to 1k. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and join my Discord server, both linked in the description below. And I'll see you guys all next time. Goodbye.